Welcome back. And today we are going to dig into something that I have heard both you, Dina, and Maggie talk about numerous occasions on the fact that cancer equals change. And I think change is can be a big, scary word to a lot of people and has sort of a negative flair to it at times. But I have heard both of you speak on maybe the brighter side of change. And so I'd just love to give our listeners a bit of examples in what you mean by that and how that plays out in your daily lives.
It's a great situation. It's a great challenge to talk about today, because we continue to change in our healing, in our wellness, and in our happiness as well. And it's ongoing. It's an ongoing evolution. And I truly believe, like I know that both of you do, because we've always talked about this, is that we have the ability to make the change work for us.
Love
and that. It's just something that, you can go back and forth with. Good, bad, indecisiveness, feeling alone, feeling not worthy when change arises. And I'm just curious, Maggie, on your thought process with this.
Well, and I love that you said ongoing healing, because if anyone literally could scan all of our podcast episodes, we have probably said ongoing and healing a trillion times.
Yes, we have.
But what I love about it is it so captures that concept of we're always healing and we're always working on the getting healthier, getting happier, living a more fulfilled life as part of our healing, right? And the ongoingness of it isn't meant to imply we're never done checking boxes, but it's meant to imply that there's always room for growth and learning and evolution in it. Because we have our good days, we have our bad days. And like you said, there's all these unknowns and things that happen. And especially with cancer, there are so many changes thrown at you and so many unknowns thrown at you. So we've talked in past episodes about what this has done to transform our lives, right? So for both of us, this ended up being a transformational change,
right,
for the good. I do believe, and I always say this was a gift, because this change meant, frankly, I had to get my shit together or I wasn't going to even be able to navigate it. Right. So I think it's, and it's the ongoing thing also spells out that it's not an all or nothing thing. It's not about you got to get it right or you got to do it all. It's about, what does it look like today?
Right. And it changes. It changes from day to day. It actually, not even day to day. How about hour by hour or minute by minute?
Minute by minute, right?
We challenge our mindset about change. And we can get thrown off very quickly when it comes to that. And I'm just going to give just a very simple example of this. And it happened actually this morning. I'm having some work done on the house, having some windows and doors changed, and I was going to a meeting this morning. It was a breakfast meeting, and I knew I had a specific time to get out of the house. 8:15 in the morning. I had to be out of the house to get there on time from 8, because it started at 8:30, and the construction guys came, and they needed to talk to me. And all I kept doing was looking at my watch, looking at my phone for the time. And I was just like, I got to get out of here. Got to get out of here.
Feeling stressed out.
Feeling stressed. This is a change. This threw a monkey wrench into my timing here. So this is a change. And it's as simple as that throws our whole mindset off. But then I just had to take a step back and said to myself, take a breath, is anybody going to notice you're 10 minutes late when the first half hour is just mingling with people and having breakfast? Like, who's going to know that you walked in the door 10 minutes late? But you play that mindset game of, oh my God, this is a change. Now what do I do? Right?
Right. And let me ask you this, Dina, because I know you and I feel like I even know what this answer will be. Why did you feel you had to be there on time? What were you worried about getting late?
Oh, somebody was going to notice and judge me for being late.
And there's a responsibility in that,
yes,
like that you have to be on time.
Yes. You know, it's actually one of my, I don't know if you want to call it gifts, challenges, curses.
Blessing and curse.
I like to be on time, you know, and, you know, one of my daughters is like, who cares what time we get there? The other daughter's more like me. And my husband's like the other daughter, is just like, nah, whenever we get there, we get there. But change is hard for some people to deal with. Well, a majority of people have a hard time changing. They look at it in a positive way. Some people look at it in a positive way, and a lot of people look at it in a negative way. And that's what we don't want, because what happens when we stay negative?
Yeah. Well, and I love how you just gave such a great example of something that happens frequently for all of us in a day, and it's just a small little thing, right? Where a lot of people will think of the word change and they think like cancer as a big change, right? Like it's this giant monster coming that's going to come up and creep up out of the unknown. And really, change can be anything, and we actually know what to do in change. We have to think about our mindset, and we have to think about what we're going to do differently. But you adapted very quickly and were like, it's okay, I'm going to be late and it's fine, right? And so you know what to do inherently, and you knew how to shift your mindset in that moment. But that's just the positive way of flipping it a little bit and thinking about it in a different way.
Right. And I have to admit, just like Maggie said, my cancer taught me that. It happened for a reason. It truly made me realize that I needed to slow down and not sweat the small stuff. And that I truly learned from both my daughters. I'm going to be very honest.
That's lovely.
They're in their late, one's 28, one's 30. And it was just like for the last 7 years, because that's my journey through this. And they were like, stop sweating the small stuff, Ma. Don't worry about that. That's it's no control. Who's got control over that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Right.
But I know you to be very responsible, which is why, Marla, you said the word I was looking for, because I know you want to get there on time because you are a very responsible person. Yes. And what that made me think of, Dina, is like the example of change that I thought of right away was during my journey through treatment, especially chemo treatment, when I would get super like low energy, fatigue, and not feel well. You have your predictable days where you know that it's coming. If in that, then I could sort of deal with because I knew it was coming. But again, change is unknown, right? When I would have a fatigue, low energy, sick day outside of those predictable days, it would throw me off. So I wouldn't be as okay resting or giving myself naps or couch time or bedtime or whatever. And that was all because of responsibility. I have all these roles. I got to be productive. I got to contribute value. Well, why? If I dig deeper into that, which you as a coach would challenge me to do, it's about feeling like I am not loved if I'm not adding value.
Oh, absolutely. And I did the same thing when I was going through my treatments with work, especially on Fridays. I would go to work pretty much Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, because Wednesdays was my treatments days. And I would just say, oh, I need to be responsible of my job, my career. And if I don't show up and I'm not responsible, okay, it was just like this mindset of, oh, not living up to expectations. They need me. They're going to judge me. All of those feelings. And I have to admit, they're from childhood, without a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that I need to take care of myself. This is the change that's going on. I went from working a full day on Friday to a half a day on Friday to taking off on Friday. And I had to literally do a little bit of tools and strategies, which we'll talk about in a few minutes, to get me through that. It's okay for me to tell my clients to do that, without a doubt.
Okay. I love that you just said that, because so often we are the first person to give others. And Marla, you give me this advice, I give you this advice. Like, we give each other permission to do these things, but we won't give ourselves permission. And so I love how you said that. I think about some of my biggest challenges right now with my ongoing healing are trying to integrate my changes into more routines for my day-to-day, because, and this is, I don't know if I've said this before, but it almost makes me cry every time I say it. Now that I am over a year beyond my cancer-free, I feel like I no longer have justifiable permission to make healing a priority, which is so sad.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it's sad. I would say it's still an ongoing process.
Opportunity. Thank you, Dina.
Opportunity. Yeah, I was kind of looking for the word, because we are so different now.
Yes.
Whether you've healed and got through cancer or another life-altering situation, the healing still continues.
Mm-hmm.
And we truly need to give ourselves the permission and the grace, because we both say it, to be okay with the ongoing changes.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we flip it back to the way it was?
Yeah, that's a great point. And if there isn't ongoing changes, there wouldn't be healing, because our bodies need to change. Our mindsets need to change to foster healing.
Yes.
It has to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to embrace it.
Right. And we need to stay flexible in the day-to-day.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And I'm going to give an example of something that I decided to start today. And it's something called the 75 Soft Challenge. And it's just certain things that I want to do every single day for the next 75 days. And it's eating healthy. It's movement. It's reading or listening to a nonfiction book. Okay. It's, drinking water, and I set how much I want to drink. And what I talk about being flexible about it is, depending on the day and what my schedule is like, I decided that I would look at it the night before, my schedule for the next day, and see if I need to tweak timing. Because what always happens when we want to try something different, what do we say? Maggie, you say it all the time. Do you remember?
No, help me.
All or nothing.
Oh, all or nothing.
Yes.
Go big or go home. All or nothing. Yeah.
So elaborate on that a little bit for me, or for us.
It's like it's being gracious with ourselves when we're trying to create the changes, like you're doing the soft challenge, you're trying to do this and create some different changes in your day in service of your healing, right?
Yes.
Well, if we start to go down that path and we misstep or we don't check a certain box, it's okay. Like it doesn't have to be the all or nothing. And the reason I say it all the time is because I fall into that trap all too often. And that's why, like with LoveME Healing, one of the things that we are just adamant about when we talk about even healing habits, which is what you're talking about here with your soft challenge, is that it isn't about checking a bunch of boxes. It's about reflecting on what are the decisions I'm making within my day, which things am I celebrating, which things are serving me, and then, moving forward that way instead of the flexibility, just like you were saying, right?
Right.
And that's embracing the change, right? Because you're looking at it as, it could just even be as simple as I need to swap, like what you were saying, Dina, I need to swap this out today, because sometimes things just are our routines can be boring or start to not motivate us or feel exciting, like workout routines or even sometimes our reading, we try and push ourselves into check boxes that aren't stimulating in the moment. And so that's where change again is good, because you can embrace it and say, that's okay. I can swap it out with something else. I'm being flexible and I'm trying some new things. And that also is valuable in my life.
Right.
I love
And
that.
it's truly based on the individual's commitment level and that it feels doable and take those baby steps for that person. And that's what I do with my clients as well. What is this unique issue that they want to conquer or let go of? It depends on the person. And I always ask them, what is the one thing that you're willing to commit to, let's say for the week? Okay. Whether it's, I'm going to work out 3 days a week, or I'm going to look in the mirror and say, I love you 5 times this week, affirmations to strengthen that confidence or that body image or what, like I said, whatever anybody is facing. And it's amazing to watch the transformation of my clients when they start to do this. And it becomes more of I don't want to say habit. They just do it. It's like brushing your teeth. It's like combing your hair. It's like getting dressed, because we at times do not look at ourselves in that type of light. Like when the sun is shining on you, sometimes it's very radiant looking and whatnot. We don't do that for ourselves when we look in the mirror.
Right. Well, and I love that with your clients, you are in essence pulling out of them changes for them to consider versus giving them a prescription. Oh, you got to try this or you should try that or whatever.
No.
It's very personal.
Yes.
And it's you helping them identify what would work for them.
Absolutely.
To try.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And again,
it's truly asking them what they want. What is their biggest dream, desire, wish? What do you want? And they're the only ones that can answer it. Everyone has the answers within themselves. It's coaches and mentors and, people like us who are helping others to find it, because it's there. It's in there.
It is in
We're just pulling it out of them.
Well, and I know with you, Dina, you encourage your clients to celebrate wins. And I think what you're saying here is so important, that not only do we have to celebrate big changes that we're working towards, maybe a goal kind of change, but also just the willingness to pivot and experiment and practice and try something different for variety or other factors is also a celebrating win, to strengthen that muscle of, hey, I am willing to just try something different today and see what I think of it. And so that's just another way to celebrate a change, if you will.
Mhm. I love that. Another way to embrace it, right?
Exactly.
What this made me think about is one of the biggest changes I have made mindset wise for myself through my journey, my healing, is that when change comes, the change, an unknown change is thrown at you, it can turn into that what if spiral. And the what if path that we most often go down is, oh my gosh, well, what if this and what if that? And then they start to build on each other and pile on each other, and it becomes overwhelming. And we're making all the stories up in our head. Instead, this is a practice that we have with LoveME Healing, but it's a practice that I do weekly to really, again, make the what ifs work for you. And make the change work for you, which I think one of you said at the beginning of this conversation, because we can't control the outcome of the change, but we can control our thoughts about it. And it serves us to really go inside and process, what do we want to happen?
Right.
Versus standing in the fear of what are we going to hope what are we going to hope doesn't happen? So that's a big reflection piece that each week I even think about, what are the things I'm most nervous about or are my biggest unknown or changes that have happened I'm trying to navigate. And I will spend some time imagining what I want it to look like. And I feel like that practice has helped me a ton.
Well, and I love that, Maggie. And I too am taking that in my mindset around it, and I'm experimenting with different words. So I think sometimes change feels so commitment level, like I'm going to change my routine of working out or my eating habits or whatever. And it feels so big and committed. And yet, so I'm using words like experiment and practice, because then I can change it again if that's not working for me, or I need to shift something and it doesn't feel like I failed. I just was trying something new and I'm willing to change again and experiment with something else. So it's just another way of how our mindset and our thoughts and our words matter.
I love that. I love it.
Nice.
There's so much. Well, this is another one like fear that we could have 20 episodes on. But I really love how just reflecting on this conversation alone, how the examples stem from very healing through breast cancer based to everyday things we run into.
Yes, because we know healing is truly inside and out.
Thank you for joining us. We hope you found value in today's episode.
And remember to share your real and raw insights with us by going to healinsideandout.com, where you can also find additional information and resources.